Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Today is the 7th of October, year of our Lord, 2025. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Moton Noah. The most crucial piece of digital intelligence that the United States of America has to offer, here yet again to service you for the next hour to 2 hours. We got to do a long episode today. I let you guys know in the last episode that there was a non-zero chance that I was going to be late uploading this episode, which was strategic because I'm going to be gone halfway through the week. I'm going to be back in Michigan, going to go to the Michigan State UCLA game, college football game this weekend. So I'm going to be out of town, which means that I either have to do a super long episode today so that you at home can break it up into 2 parts if you'd like to, or... I mean, you can look at how long this episode is. Did I do it? Did I do close to 2 hours? Or I'll have to upload another episode and then just bank it for in a couple of days. I don't know how I'm going to do this. It is entirely contingent on how long I go in today's episode. Do I get in my bag, ladies and gentlemen? Do I start riffing? I'm saying all this just to say there's a non-zero chance this is the only episode that you get this week. And then the next Sunday, we should be back. But even then, next Sunday, the problem is we're going to be coming home next Sunday. It's a travel day. I'm going to be gassed. Well, the Lions are the Sunday night game. So I'm letting you know now, if there's not another episode this week, next Sunday's episode might also be a little bit late. It might also come out on Tuesday, depending on how things go. So I beg and implore you to show me a little bit of grace. Sort of a weird, but then after that, we'll be completely back on schedule. So it just might be a little bit of a weird bounce around here for the next couple of episodes. But regardless, there will be some content. Hey, folks, what do we have to talk about today? Well, a lot. We're going to sort of do like an email palooza. Day that I'm taping this is my grandma's birthday. Today is her 80th. Grandma turns... I'm sorry, Grandma. My grandma today is 45 years old. My grandma today is 45 years old. She looks great. It's crazy. You have 80-year-old grandparents, and they're not 80. We just got to see them. I didn't actually mention this on the show. My grandparents came to town. They came to Chicago a week ago. Word to Bobby Shmurda. And I haven't seen them in over 3 years. They haven't been able to meet Roman, my son, yet. And so they finally got to. They got to come to the big city. They got to come to the Big Apple, the Windy City. They got to come here and got to hang out with them, and it was amazing. And again, they finally got to meet their great-grandson, and you just wouldn't know that my grandparents are in their 80s now by the way that they talk and the way that they act. And if my grandparents told me tomorrow that they were going to summit Machu Picchu, I'd be like, word, sounds like something that you guys would do. It's crazy. They just don't do old people stuff because they're not old. Like, their age would be indicative of that of somebody who is old, but they're just not. They just don't do old people stuff. It's wild. My grandma hates bingo. So I don't know. Happy birthday to my grandma. Sent her a nice text earlier. Getting to see them meant the world to me. I mean, if you've been listening to the show for a while, you know my grandma is sort of a central figure of the show. There are plenty of times where I don't say something because I know that my grandma is listening, and other times that I do say something and then later regret it because I'm like, oh yeah, my grandma listens to it. And to be able to have both of my grandparents, in my late 20s is something that I do not take for granted. I'm very fortunate that I have both of them, and I seemingly will. I'm telling you, bro, like, they're great. Like. Every time I talk to them, every other time that I talk to them, it's like someone's got a new eye, someone's got a new like knee or a hip or something. They're the bionicles. I'm always getting these surgeries, and they're great. I love both of them more than anything I've ever loved in the world. And again, just happy birthday to my grandma. All right, folks, what do I got for you guys today? You want to start with something that I'm mad about? But not like really that mad. Well, I'm pretty mad about this actually. So the moment that you're listening to this, like 90% of you, the moment that you're listening to this, you know the result of what I'm about to say. But I just want to look, the day that I'm taping this, we're a couple hours removed from LeBron James sending out this promo where he's like, on October 7th, the decision, part 2, the second decision. And everybody's like, oh, what's it going to be, LeBron? What's it going to be? Is LeBron about to announce his retirement? Whoa! Is LeBron about to announce this break-off league that he and Maverick Carter are starting? Whoa! Is he going to go back to Cleveland? He's under contract. That's not going to happen. Whoa! What's going to happen? Now, I think most people are on the same page about what's about to happen. Again, by the time you're listening to this, the odds are that you know what it is. October 7th, LeBron is slated to make it an announcement, is the way that it's being billed. And I'm just telling you, before noon Eastern on October 7th, it's going to be a promo for the Prime days that Amazon has coming up on both October 7th and October 8th. And then also, just by extension of that, it's going to be a promotion for just the NBA having a new home on Amazon Prime this season, right? Both on Prime and on Peacock, but obviously this is just a promo for Prime. That's what this is going to be. There's no shot that it's literally anything else, and that is pretty sickening to me, honestly. Pretty gross, pretty dumb, pretty annoying. It's like, dog, you just did this in, like, July. Because it used to be that Prime days happened, like, once a year, and that was in July. And then, sure, you had, like, Black Friday deals and you had Cyber Monday deals on Amazon Prime. And sure, that's just kind of how it goes. Now they're just kind of like, well, what if we did it again? What if we did it for a second time throughout the year? And it is so frustrating to me that LeBron is going to use this moment not to you're going to say, oh, it's good marketing, Nick, because everybody's anticipating. No, it's not good marketing because it's the most transparent thing that's ever happened. If LeBron James, by the time you're listening to this, if the announcement is anything other than something related to Amazon Prime or the NBA season coming up, whatever, if it's like, for real, he's announcing his retirement, I will. What do I want to do? I'm looking around the room right now. What's something crazy that I could do that I could hold myself accountable for? I mean, give me a second. I have a little on the side of my desk here. I have some little trinkets and toys. Maybe I'll break something. Give me just a second here, folks. Over here, I have a can of. I have air duster. Maybe I'll huff some air dust. I say at the beginning of the show. Sometimes my grandma listens to the show and I forget that she listens to the show. And then here I am being like, if LeBron James announces his retirement on October 7th, I'm gonna huff some air dust. No, I don't know. Talk about LeBron making announcements on October 7th. I'll tell you what. If LeBron October 7th, if he's announcing that he's joining Hamas, I will huff the shit out of this air duster. I don't know. What else do I got in here? I got some Funko Pops in here somewhere. I think. Let me talk a little louder so that it'll pick up on the mic. The first one that I can find, who is this going to be? Is this my Blake Griffin pop? No, this is my Daenerys Targaryen pop where she's holding the whip of the Unsullied. Remember that scene in Game of Thrones? How sick that was when she's like, "Yeah, I've been speaking Valyrian this whole time. It's my natural tongue," and then she lights everybody on fire. Spoiler alert for Game of Thrones. I like to imagine anybody who's wanted to see the show at this point has seen the show, and also if you haven't seen the show, there's literally no reason to watch it at this point because it just was such a dumpster fire at the end of it. I haven't really arrived at any conclusions here. I have a big cardboard box right here. If LeBron James announces his retirement, the next time that you hear from me, I'll eat a piece of cardboard. How about that? Because there's no shot it's going to be anything other than... And that stinks. I do think it's weird at this point. I will say this as a piece of commentary on, like, I don't know, what if this is his retirement, or, like, if at some point throughout the rest of the next, like, month, if he does say, hey, this is it. This is my last season. I'm surprised that it hasn't happened yet. I think that's sort of my take is, if this does end up being LeBron's last season... I'm surprised that hasn't already been announced, and that people haven't already been able to, they haven't had the opportunity to sort of make their plans and do like a farewell tour. Because the real honest to God truth is that when LeBron announces that it's wraps, this is going to be my farewell season, it will be the male equivalent to the Eras tour that Taylor Swift just did for 2.5 damn years. Like, it will be the most emotion that a lot of guys have shown in their lives. Honestly. When that guy says he's hanging him up. And I guess I'm just... Because he's going to make it about him for the whole season. You know what I mean? We're what? Like 2 weeks away at the moment that I'm taping this? I think like a little over 2 weeks away from the NBA season tipping off. And I do think it's a little strange that we haven't heard it yet. It's gonna stink when it happens, but it's sort of only a matter of time. He's gonna do sort of a Coach K thing. I tease and I say, oh, he's gonna make it about him. Well, he should. He's the greatest basketball player that's ever lived, and I think that he should make it about him, and he really should do this whole farewell tour. And so, I don't want to say sometimes you see guys get farewell tours that don't really deserve farewell tours, because the truth is it doesn't really happen that much. I would say a guy who deserved a farewell tour that didn't really get one was Vince Carter, because he was sort of a victim of the COVID year, where his last game, he didn't realize it was going to be his last game. You know what I mean? And I think for a guy like him, that really stinks. But when it happens for LeBron, it's going to stink, and it's going to be one of the worst days of my life until it is actually his final game, and then it's like, where do we even go now that LeBron's not in the league? Now, the truth is, like, it's been a couple years since we've legitimately had to factor him in as like whoa, but you can't count out LeBron. The truth is that for the last couple years since he's been in Los Angeles, more often than not, since he's gotten there, and this is year 8, I think, for him in Los Angeles, maybe year 7 for him in Los Angeles, more often than not, you kind of have actually been able to rule them out outside of maybe like a 2 or 3 year sort of thing. When is LeBron's last game going to be? It'll probably be in the playoffs no matter what. But I'm a little bit annoyed that they're milking this. And there is a little bit of irony in them coining this whole the second decision, or the decision part 2. Again, whatever it's called, it doesn't matter, because it's garbage, it's nonsense, it's fiction, and they've made it up. It's funny that that's what they're billing it as, considering like one of the biggest pieces of criticism that people have of like modern day media, or like the modern day Hollywood machine, if that's what you want to call it, is just like the remakes, the reboots, and the the whatevers, the rehashings, and the sequel culture that we live in, where it's like, well, what if we just made another one instead of making a new an original IP? What if we did that? It does make sense that the second decision stinks and is an ad and is something that isn't even real. You get what I'm saying? I'm not really making a joke here. Like, there's not a coherent joke here, but you know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? It seems par for the course. That might as well happen. So shame on LeBron, I think, is the take here. I think it stinks. It's effective marketing to the extent that, people are talking about it, but it's so transparent that we all kind of know what it's going to be. How funny is it going to be if this is like a real announcement and he's actually announcing he's retiring, and I've spent the last 5 minutes being like, this is terrible marketing and nobody cares about this. This is awful. No, but I know that I'm going to be right about this, so it's whatever. I don't know. What if I'm not right about this? The more confident that I am that I'm going to be right about this, whatever. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to say this is obviously an ad. This is going to be product placement. This is not going to be a real thing. When LeBron made the original decision, it's funny if you go back and look at the video of it. What was it? What I'm about to say isn't actually funny at all. It's just a dumb observation. If you watch it, there's a bottle of vitamin water that's right next to him. This was, 2010? Vitamin water had not hit the streets yet. Like, it was not a major player in the nourishment world, in the replenishing world. Gatorade still had that locked down. Powerade still had that locked down. You know what I mean? I don't even think 50 Cent, by the time the decision happened, I don't even know if 50 had invested in vitamin water yet, and that's really when they took off. So, we're at a point now in my life where all we drink at home is vitamin water. Maybe every other week I'll buy a case of, we go to the grocery store, I get a case of Pepsi or Coke, Dr. Pepper, whatever I'm in the mood for. Maybe I'm feeling quirky, I get some Sprite, and I make some Shirley Temples at home or something like that. For the most part, we drink vitamin water, and then we recently got a Brita filter, and so I've been drinking the hell out of some water, because those Brita filters make some real good water. But okay, shout out to vitamin water, not an ad. I would love to, I would do ads for vitamin water, I would do ads for Jimmy John's. And what's one more, Nick? What's one more? AMC theaters. Those are my white whales. Vitamin water. What did I say? Brita filters and AMC theaters. And honestly, AMC theaters. No, I said Jimmy John's, not Brita filters. Jimmy John's. Oh my God, yeah. Before my Twitter got banned like 3.5 years ago, Jimmy Johns had followed me, and it was a big day for me. That was a good moment for me. It was like Jimmy Johns and Babytron and Danny Brown. Those were the three horsemen of the holy shit. I can't believe I've made it. These three people have, and Daryl Morey. There's four. Come on, think of one more. At that point, you might as well think of one more. Wizards fans, do you guys remember Kevin Seraphin? He followed me. This was like 2016. Like, Kevin Seraphin followed me on Twitter and on Vine. And it's so crazy to me to think that, like, just this French guy who played in the NBA followed, like, what was I in 2016, 18 years old? Followed an 18 or 19-year-old kid on Twitter and on Vine. Dude, I was shitposting on Vine. There was nothing funny on there at all. Grant Napier, that was a big one for me. I don't know. What's one more? Such a dumb segment, such a dumb way to finish the segment. Being like, who are cool people that followed me on Twitter? Jimmy Johns, Danny Brown, Babytron. I don't know. That's kind of sick. That's a pretty good lineup. Yeah, LeBron's doing some gross shit, man. Cool prime days. October 7th. It's just funny to do. It's funny to me to do promos on October 7th. Like, it would be like if Prime was doing, if they're like, oh, check out these sick deals on September 11th and 12th. And you're like, what about one of those days? These sales are going to blow me out of the sky. You know what I mean? Like, that's a weird day to do a sale. October 7th. Okay. I don't know. It just seems like for the way that sort of I don't want to get into it. Let's keep this lighthearted today, folks. What else am I mad about today? Adam Silver. I'm a little bit mad about Adam Silver right now. I don't know about you at home. I would argue maybe there's been a shocking fall from grace with Adam Silver, unlike anything that we've seen in the four major sports as far as the commissioners are concerned. Like, everybody's always going to hate Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL. Unintentional rhyme. I do that from time to time, Dr. Seuss in this news. But here's the problem with Roger Goodell is you can hate on him all you want, and you can say that he's Satan, and you can boo him when he starts making, when he goes up to like make a pick or announce a pick at the NFL draft, because that's just like what you're supposed to do is boo the commish. But I'm like, he's evil, but he just runs such a tight ship, and like there's a reason that the NFL is king in America. You know what I mean? So like it just kind of is what it is with him. Like, he's really good at what he does. Rob Manfred single-handedly saved baseball. I mean, some of the numbers that you're hearing about the ratings, the viewership in the playoffs this year for Major League Baseball. Actually, I think offhand, I might be able to pull some of this up. Viewership jumped 89% from last year for the under 35 demographic and 108% for kids 17 and under during the wild card series and early into the divisional series as I'm taping this. Total viewership for the wild card series specifically was up 64% from last year. The job that Rob Manfred has done with baseball in these last few years, like namely the pitch clock, I think you could point to the pitch clock and just speeding up the game, a sport that would otherwise, 9 innings could take up to 4 damn hours, right? And this pitch clock, you're seeing some games wrap up in like 2.5 hours. Like, it's a boom, 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 boom. Rob Manfred, and there are a myriad of other things that we could, a laundry list of things that we could go through. But he's done a really good job. Even Gary Bettman, who I think 5 years ago was easily at the bottom of the totem pole as far as the commissioners were concerned. Gary Bettman, he's still Satan, but I don't think, people will boo him when it's time to do the Stanley Cup and blah, 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 blah. I don't think people hate Gary Bettman as much as they did a couple of years ago. And I wonder, I won't be able to really point you in the direction as to all of the specifics as to why the way I could with like baseball, for example. But off the top of my head, the like World Classic that they did at the All-Star break this previous season in, what was that, February, was a massive hit. And that's a damn understatement. Was a massive hit. So it's not him. I think Adam Silver has just tanked. Why do I feel like that is the case, is the question. Because viewership, if I want to credit Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball, and I want to say he has saved baseball and the viewership is indicative of that. Well, Game 7 of the NBA Finals was the single most viewed game in the NBA Finals in over 6 years. I don't remember where the series in totality ranked in the last decade, but it wasn't like a major drop-off. I think game 1 might have been because people didn't really care. By the time you get to game 7, it's like, okay. Now, what's funny is I wonder, Tyrese Halliburton, 5 minutes into that game 7 was when he blew out his Achilles, if it was even 5 minutes. I wonder, are they going concurrent viewers? And that's why it broke a record? Or were they going like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say people turned off game 7 just because Tyrese Halliburton was hurt, but it did just completely destroy whatever inertia or momentum that we as fans felt like we had going into that game, specifically the neutral fan. You know what I mean? It was a major bummer more than anything else. No, I don't know that we can use the ratings, as it's not really a ratings program here at the Coping Hour, but what am I actually mad about? Where's the chase and how do I cut to it? Because I'm bearing the lead. Well, there are a couple things. One, the ownership coalition that has formed in protest of domestic expansion has clearly gotten to Adam Silver, and I don't really blame him for that. I don't blame Adam Silver because the owners have gotten to him and corrupted his brain. Because the truth is, we've said this on this program before, Adam Silver does not have you, the fan, your best interest in mind. That is not his job, is to make you, the fan, happy. That's not his job. His job is to appease the owners. Because you know who's in control of Adam Silver's contract? The owners. The only way that he gets to stay in the chair of commissioner and get his contract extended is if the owners, in majority, en masse, decide to extend his contract. Now, what you're seeing right now is that a TV deal that the NBA has signed within the last 18 months is actually kind of turning out to be a pain in the ass. Kind of turning out to be, maybe getting $1.5 billion per season per network between ABC and NBC and Amazon. Maybe it's actually not good. Maybe it's not. Because now what you're seeing is, again, a coalition of owners in the NBA led by James Dolan, owner of the New York Knicks, are pushing back on the idea of domestic expansion because they do not want to have to share a piece of that TV revenue, $1.5 billion per season per network for the next decade. They do not want to have to share that revenue with 2 additional teams that we would see in Seattle and Las Vegas. That is the reason that you have seen the headlines about Adam Silver. What the fuck is he talking about? NBA Europe for? That's why. Because if they expand outside of the United States, suddenly that TV deal does not include these teams, right? So when you see Adam Silver talking about Tel Aviv, and you see him talking about Barcelona, and you see him talking about Galatasaray, that's why. When you see Adam Silver talking about, I don't know, I look at travel times in the United States and I look at West Coast teams going to the East Coast and vice versa. What really is the difference if we have the Knicks go to Turkey and we have them go to Spain and we have them go to Israel and we have them go to all of these places, right? For a week and a half, they play a circuit in Europe, and then also vice versa, right? You would see Barcelona or Real Madrid come to the United States, and they would do an East Coast trip, or they would do a Middle America trip, or they would do a West Coast trip. We could go on and on with this, right? There's framework here that Adam Silver is trying to lay out, and that is on behalf of the owners. It is not on behalf of you, the fans. Now, you could also argue the reason that Adam Silver wants to expand into Europe, and again, not domestically, but abroad, is because there has been the rumor out there that LeBron James and Maverick Carter and maybe some other investors want to start their own break-off league. What would that league look like still remains to be seen, other than, I don't know, it sounds like they want to almost do like a Harlem Globetrotters, a Harlem Globetrotters thing where they just form a bunch of teams comprised of both men and women. You put 10 people on the roster and they go play in Spain for a week, or they go play in Turkey for a week, or they go play in Germany for a week, and they play these sort of local teams. They go to Spain, they play Barcelona, and they play Real Madrid, and whatever other Spanish basketball teams there are, right? And that's kind of the whole league is they just do that. I guess the framework on the LeBron breakoff league is still very fuzzy right now, but I think that Adam Silver is trying to sort of kill the idea that something like that could happen, because it's not inconceivable to think, it really is not inconceivable to think that you would see players that would otherwise be playing in the NBA play in some other league if there is like financial incentive, right? So I think that is, it's not good. I mean, nobody wants this. Like, nobody wants NBA Europe to be part of the NBA. And that's not me doing like an American exceptionalism thing. It just doesn't make any damn sense, and it doesn't actually help the sport, right? Now, you might push back and say, well, how does Seattle and Vegas help the sport? I don't know that. Well, I could tell you how it does, but first of all, I don't care if it does or doesn't help. This is what we've been told for the last 3 years. Adam Silver's language changed on this immediately after this TV deal went through, when otherwise what we had been told was just wait for the TV deal to close, and then we're going to be looking to add like 2 more teams, right? Until the owners got involved, which is, again, what Adam Silver's job is to appease the owners. And I could give you 15 more minutes on this, but let me move on to something else that people are upset about right now, which we have also covered on this show, and seemingly every other serious person in the world has covered right now, which is that people are upset that seemingly the NBA is going to sit on their hands with whatever is going on in Los Angeles. With the Clippers specifically, I should say. For once, this is actually, I said, the last couple of minutes has been about LeBron and whatever league he's going to break off and do it. No, this is actually about the Clippers, right? The aspirations, Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard, Uncle Dennis, no-show job, how many tens of millions of dollars, exchanged hands for Kawhi to not do anything, cap circumvention. It seems at this point, about a month into these allegations coming to fruition from the journalistic powerhouse, titan of industry, Pablo Torre, that this cap circumvention thing is a problem in Los Angeles. It really does seem like so far that the league is going to sit on its hands. This investigation will take some time. The language so far has been, it could be post All-Star break that we have like a real definitive conclusion. So, like, I'm not being antsy and just like, oh, well, we got to know now. Clearly, it's black and white and blah, blah, blah. No, hey, if you want to be thorough and the investigation takes time, then it takes time. I would say that, like, I don't know, an investigative journalist is kind of doing fucking laps on whatever lawyers or PIs, private investigators, that you have looking into this. So I don't know that it really takes that long to, you know what I mean? But it does seem like the NBA is just kind of going to let this slide. And it's not even like this is necessarily new information. Like, the thoroughness and the detail that Pablo Torre has laid out in these last couple of weeks has been unprecedented and something that we haven't really ever seen. But it's also like, Doug, there have been rumors for so long that something happened during Kawhi's recruitment to the Los Angeles Clippers, and like the backdoor deals that Uncle Dennis was trying to facilitate. And it seemed pretty clear from the jump that something was going on, tampering or otherwise. And the NBA just kind of let it happen. And they just let Kawhi go to Los Angeles, and they let Paul George go to Los Angeles via trade. And nothing really came out of it. I don't know. So that, puts a bad taste in people's mouth too. And I don't know, man. Adam Silver just as a guy. And then that also, you couple the last couple, however long I've been talking about this, you couple all of that with the quote that he made a couple of weeks ago where he's like, look, it's a social media league and it stinks for people that can't watch the games and that can't afford all of these different subscription packages or TV packages or whatever. But it's a social media league. It's a highlight league, and they can go watch the extended highlights on YouTube. Whoops. What the fuck was that, Adam? What? Huh? Whoops. Now, he did, within, days after making those comments, backpedal on it and try to sort of like reframe what he was trying to say. But the damage had, I would say, already been done, because he kind of just said the thing that it seemed obvious that they were trying to do in the first place. Like, the one thing that for so many years the NBA was better than any other sport at was the social media stuff. Was a major problem in Major League Baseball, was a massive problem in the NHL, but specifically in the MLB, like the copyright strikes that people would get, you couldn't just like post highlights. Like, if I'm watching an NBA game and I'm on Stream East or something and I just, like, screen record a super sick play and I put it on Twitter, it literally doesn't matter. If I do that exact same thing and I include it in a YouTube video, the NBA doesn't care. Like, it's not going to matter. And they're just like, hey, we're just excited that our clips are out there and that people are paying attention to our league. Like, it goes back into the economy, so to speak, right? But if you do that, in the past, if you did that in Major League Baseball, your ass would go to prison, bro. It was a huge deal. The MLB was not a social media league at all. And so it's, again, not that crazy that Adam Silver, like, acknowledged it, but also, like, it is. Because, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're the one that said it. And so does that, you wonder, like, what does that do to the NBA ratings this year? Because the league is in an entirely new home this year. You have NBC/Peacock and you have Amazon Prime. And so you just wonder, but then it also is like, it just sort of reopens, it relitigates the whole damn like piracy thing. And it's like, you wonder why people are pirating games at an all-time high. It's like, because you make people jump through so many hoops in order to actually be able to watch these games, right? Like, we talked about this a week or two ago as it pertained to a Lions game. Like, the fact that it wasn't a Lions game. It was last week. It was the Chiefs versus the Ravens. I was subject to a media blackout. Why is that still a thing, especially if I'm paying for the subscription service? If I'm paying for Paramount Plus, I should not be subject to a media blackout on CBS. I should have access to every single game that's airing on the network, no matter the time slot, no matter what my market is, right? And that's something that's still a problem in the NBA, where, like, if I bought League Pass, like, I can't watch the Bulls because I live in Chicago. What is that? What does that mean? What is that? You know what I mean? I remember when the very, very famous clip of Matthew Stafford being mic'd up against the Cleveland Browns, where he separates his shoulder and there's a pass interference in the end zone, and then the Lions on the last play of the game get the ball at the 1. And Matthew Stafford, his arm is completely out. Like, his shoulder is out, and the trainers are like, you cannot go back in the game. And Matthew Stafford, mic'd up, is like, get the fuck off of me. I'm throwing this touchdown. That's what he said. And then he goes in, takes a snap, throws a touchdown, Lions win the game. One of the most famous mic'd up clips in the history of the NFL and the history of American sports, right? That's not me doing home cooking shit. That's just real. If you know ball, you know what I'm talking about, right? I didn't watch that game live. I was watching the ESPN Gamecast on ESPN.go.com because I was subject to a media blackout. What year would that have been? Like 2010, maybe 2011? Like, yeah, that was 15 years ago. Things were different. Streaming wasn't a thing. Like, I get it then. I guess the Lions weren't good, so it made sense that we were always blacked out. I guess it was even stupid when I was a kid. But you get what I'm saying? We're in 2025, and if I'm paying $15 a month for Paramount Plus and there's a game on CBS, there are 2 games happening at the same time on CBS, like, why can't I watch these? This is still a problem in every single sport. I'm not trying to just focus on it being the NBA is the point here, but it is still a thing. And so when Adam Silver comes out and says something like, yeah, I don't really give a shit if people can't watch the game, you can just watch a clip on Twitter, or just watch the 20-minute extended highlights on YouTube or something like that. It's like, yeah, dog, that's why we're pirating the game, because if I have to pay, what would the number even be? Like $1,000 per year if I'm paying for all of these subscription services in order to watch every single game in the NBA season? Fuck yourself. I'm not doing that. And so the fall from grace that he's had has been really interesting, and I think most of it stems from the stuff that we talked about at the top of this, which is his inability to stray from what the owners want because he's under their thumb right now, which is like, it's not his fault. That's what his job is to appease the owners and to make them money. And damn, has he done a good job doing that, because once again, $1.5 billion per season per network for the next 10 years. Do you think he did his job? It just stinks all of the other stuff that has to come with it. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. You guys want to do something? Let's do not sports for a second. You want to do not sports for a second? This one comes into us from Professionally Casual. No name was ever included in this email. Professionally Casual. What's up? Sent this one in a little bit over a week ago. Again, word to Bobby Shmurda. Hello, Nick. Fan of the show here. I've recently had an epiphany in my life, and honestly, I just want to vent. I'm a 22-year-old guy, and recently I've noticed that I'm becoming the person who I never thought I'd become. Growing up, I was short and overweight, so I've never had any luck with girls. I've only ever had one girlfriend, and that was 6 years ago in high school. From 2020 to 2024, I've had no relations with women at all until recently. Within the last 6 months, I've been talking to multiple women, and I don't know how to feel. On one hand, it's nice to know that women find me attractive and like being around me, but on the other, I feel disingenuous about talking to more than one woman. I am a monogamous man, and I only want one lover, but talking to multiple is kind of cool. Let me read that. Let me take that one from the top. I am a monogamous man, and I only want one lover, but talking to multiple is kind of cool. I lost weight and gained a lot of confidence these past 2 years, and I feel more comfortable approaching and interacting with women. I don't want to come across as cocky, as I've been rejected multiple times and try to stay humble, but the idea that for once in my life I can confidently talk to women makes me want to see the extent at which how many girls I can talk to. This guy rocks. In the end, I do only want one girlfriend, and I feel if they found that they weren't the only girl I was seeing before we became a couple, they would be hurt. Yeah, bro, yeah. I know I'm still young, so maybe this won't matter in the future, but I just wanted to tell somebody what I've been thinking lately. P.S. VJ Edgecombe, Rookie of the Year sleeper. No, he's not a sleeper. He was like I think he's sort of I would argue he's a leader in the clubhouse. I don't know what the advanced numbers, I'm sorry, not the advanced numbers, like the Vegas numbers would say on Rookie of the Year. Yeah, but even on draft night, people were like, keep an eye on this guy. Sleeper, no. But, like, you're right that he's going to be in that conversation. No, this guy rocks. I love the idea. It's kind of like the I think you should leave skit where the guy has the dog haircut and he's like, I just wanted to have 2 girlfriends because I thought it would be so cool. Yeah, bro. That's the only teasing I'm going to do here. Like, I hear what you're saying. And honestly, I don't know if this is maybe the right thing to say, or it's not really advice. But it's just like, you're 22, dude. You're 22, and by the sounds of it, you sort of went through like a physical transformation. And so the way that you're viewing yourself and your confidence, everything's different. You are at a pretty inconsequential you are at a very inconsequential point in your life where like, yeah, dude, you can just kind of go out and like, I don't want to say like you're in your hoe phase, you know what I mean? But like, go do it. Like, go out and date women. Cause like, I don't know. At the risk of sounding like an incel, like, I don't want to say the odds are that these women are doing the same thing. If you're in sort of like you're 22, so I don't know if that's a college environment at that point, but for lack of better phrasing, like, yeah, man, like, people talk to other people and like, it's just kind of how it goes. And like, you're not really at a point in your life where like you have to, I don't want to say take relationships seriously. You should always be considering other people's feelings and all this stuff, which it sounds like you are, which is good. You are right to say that if you are talking to a woman and things, you know, after like 6 months are kind of heating up and at that point they're pretty serious and you're like, okay, maybe this is going to be a thing. Maybe if they found out that for the first 2 months you were also kind of maybe seeing somebody else, yeah, they probably wouldn't be too happy about that. I would say keep that one in your back pocket. You know, I don't think you don't need to be that honest. Well, hold on. Well, I was going to say you don't need to be that honest with them, but if you're I'm just like going to create a hypothetical situation here. If you're if you are seeing the same woman and it's been like 6 months and you're like, okay, yeah, I think this is a thing. And I really think I trust that this is just us right now. And I think she feels the same way. Right. I don't know if it would take 6 months. Maybe it would be sooner than that, but arbitrarily we'll just say 6 months. Right. If somehow it came up and you had the opportunity to be like, yeah, for the first 2 months, I was like I was talking to other people and I was kind of going on some other dates in between us going on dates. I mean, I can't litigate that. That would be something that you would know the seriousness, the severity of what your guys' like dates, quote unquote, had been like, and the intimacy and all this stuff. And if you guys had, for those first 2 months, been kind of casual on and off, like whatever, yeah, no, I don't think you need to say anything, because there's a non-zero chance that maybe she was doing the same thing. But once you guys sort of locked in and were like, okay, maybe this is a thing, and then you guys kind of say, listen, man, don't think too hard about it. You're 22. Like, I never went through that phase in my life. I'm not trying to be like, well, I never went through it, so you shouldn't go through it. No, I didn't go through it. But like, this is what people do. This is what people do when they're in school. This is what people do when they, get out of school. And you don't have to meet your forever person when you're in your early 20s, because by the time you're in your even mid 20s or late 20s, you're going to be a completely different person. You know what I mean? And even the person that you're with is going to be a completely different person. Maddie and I have been together this December in 2 months will be 11 years. Do you think we have been the same people for the last 11 years? We have had so many ups, and especially so many downs, where we've just kind of separated for a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's the way that you grow with a person, and you get through those bumps in the road. And I don't think you're really at a point in your life where you need to be so, I don't know, maybe it just is who you, some people are like that they're sort of conditioned at an early age, and there's nothing wrong with it, that if by the time I get out of school, like, I gotta have my person, you know what I mean? And I don't really think, you say you're becoming the person that you never wanted to be. What, that you rock and chicks love you? Girls love me, and they can't stop hanging out with me, and all they want to do is date me. And I never thought I'd be this guy. I never thought I would be this man. It sounds like things are cool for you right now. Just let it ride, brother. Because if you, again, went through a physical transformation, like, I'm assuming that was for a reason, and you should be proud of that, and you should, like, feel confident in yourself. And part of, like, you being at the age that you're at and, like, having that confidence is, like, putting yourself out there. And I don't think, like, I don't know, the email, maybe I should read it again. Like, I don't know, like, it didn't really come off as, like, you being super cocky and, like, you being a, let me give me 2 seconds to, like, kind of skim through this again. 22-year-old, becoming a guy that I never thought I'd be. I was short and overweight. I never had luck with girls. I only ever had one girlfriend from 2020 to 2024. Well, 2020 to 2024, you're cutting out at least a year and a half of that. 2020 to the halfway through 2021, that doesn't count. Nobody was outside. You know what I mean? That doesn't count, brother. So you got to cut a little bit of time off of that and give yourself a little bit of credit. Within the past 6 months, I've been talking to multiple women, and I don't know how to feel. On one hand, it's nice to know that women find me attractive and like being around me. I don't think you're, like, the way that this email read, I don't think you're using these women as a vehicle to, like, make your self-esteem, like, go up. That just doesn't come off that way to me. I think you're just, like, excited that, like, oh, wow, I spent so much time, like, not being acknowledged, not even in an incel way. You're just like, I don't know, like, girls I wasn't really something that I did. And you're just at a really good point in your life where, like, yeah, like, I'm kind of up right now, and girls are, like, noticing me, and, like, that's cool for you, dude. And I just think you should let that ride. And maybe, I don't know, I was talking to multiple girls in a 6-month span, but, like, this is sort of, like, that's, like, the age to, like, sort of, I said it earlier, I don't want to call it your hoe phase, but, like, I don't know, if that's what you want to call it and make yourself feel better, like, just go out there and, like, experience people and figure out, like, what works for you. You know what I mean? And then one day there's going to be somebody that, like, because maybe, is this a take maybe? Like, there hasn't been somebody, maybe these women are really, really nice and you enjoy spending time with them, but, like, there hasn't been somebody that makes you want to drop these other girls. Is that let me say that again out loud. I don't know. I don't really like the way that came out. So I'm going to say that exactly the way that I just said it. Maybe there hasn't been a girl that's come along that's made you want to drop these other girls. Oh, it's a really shitty thing to say. But also, I don't know, maybe that's just kind of where you're at, where you're just like, yeah, I sort of just, is it an attention thing for you? And I don't mean that in a mean way. Like, did you just spend so much time, it sort of, well, in your own words, just kind of like being rejected and sort of not being acknowledged, that it is just kind of nice to be perceived as, like, a real person and, like, a real, like, attractive person. If that is something that if you spent however many years just not being perceived that way, if suddenly you're getting that attention, like, yeah, dude, like, you deserve that for yourself. And if you went again through, like, this weight loss journey, this physical transformation, like, you did it for a reason. And like, I'm not going to say like you did it to like hang out with all these girls, but like, I don't know, that was at least part of it. And I just think you owe it to yourself to like, it's just such a low stakes age for this stuff. You know, I don't know how any of this is going to come off. I'm not saying, like, I hope that when you do find that person, that you do just say, all right, this is my person, and then you drop everybody else, right? But it doesn't sound like that's happened for you yet, and just have fun. Just have fun, because the odds are, I think, I don't know, maybe the women that you're talking to may also kind of be experiencing like hey, I'm kind of just like having fun, and we go on a date and that's cool. And then 2 nights later, I have a date with a different guy. And like, that's just what people do when they're at the age that you're at. And that's fine. Like, it doesn't have to be all, you can be a monogamous guy while like in the process, like in the dating pool, like you're in, you know what I mean? That doesn't mean that you're, what's the Mormon one and what's the non-Mormon one? Polyamory, polygamy, and all that racket. Like, it doesn't mean that you're that just because you're kind of like testing the waters, you know? You're just, it's as simple as that, right? You're just testing the waters, brother. So don't get too in your head about it. Let yourself have fun. You deserve it. All right? Let's do another one. copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. Matter of fact, you want to zag this back to hoops for just a second. I had mentioned in the last episodes, one of you guys had sent in an email about like NBA players who you could either see wearing a different jersey or like maybe just straight up they're wearing the wrong jersey. And we brainstormed for just a second. I said, let's put a pin in this and let me think about this. And then we'll cover this more extensively in the following episode. And well, it's the following episode right now. One of you guys left a comment. Let me pull it up right here because I've got it in front of me. This comes into us from Adam. And I think they nailed it. So I'm going to riff off of this. Like, NBA players who are wearing the wrong jersey pretty much nailed all of these. I want to lead with Jaylen Brown wearing a Nets jersey. Now, not only do I think they nailed this, my take was more with Jaylen Brown. So for transparency, my thought was Kings. I thought Sacramento for Jaylen Brown. But I think our logic is the same here, right? Where I think when it inevitably happens, and whether it's Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, it's no way it's going to be Jason Tatum. When one of these guys is somewhere else one day, you know, I'm not trying to do the thing that Celtics fans got so mad about for so many years, where it's like, why is everybody trying to break up the Jays? And then they won a championship on like one of the most dominant regular and postseason teams that has literally ever lived. Until the Oklahoma City Thunder, literally the following season. But that Celtics team was still really, really good. Everybody, you know, shits on them for the cakewalk, quote unquote, that they had. And I don't know if it's quote unquote, but, you know, people like to sort of criticize them for the gauntlet, or rather lack thereof, that they went through in the Eastern Conference. But, you know, Jaylen Brown wins Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and then he wins the Finals MVP. I'm really not trying to do the thing where it sounds like I'm breaking up the Jays, but I just think the truth of it is that, like, one day that guy's going to go somewhere else, that guy being Jaylen Brown. And I think, to Adam's point, and then to my own point with, like, him being in Sacramento, and again, Adam's point being in Brooklyn, I think when it happens, if it happens with Jaylen Brown, he's not going to like the latest, greatest contender. Like, he's not going from like a 1 seed to another 1 seed. I think he's going from the Celtics to somebody who's in the mud. And I think it's going to be like a big litmus test for what exactly is this guy and what does he bring to the table on a team that otherwise has nothing going on. I think that's where our logic is the same here, right? Again, for you it's Brooklyn, for me it's Sacramento. I don't know where it's going to be, but I do think, again, like, but I don't think it can be Charlotte. I don't think it can be Washington. Washington, I think, is a sort of the fringe above all of the mud teams, where like Washington actually does have stuff going on right now. You know, does Brooklyn have stuff going on? We're going to have to wait to see what's going on with these picks that they made. Is it conceivable that you can draft 5 guards in the first round of the draft and any of them are good? Is it, well, how do I say, damn it, I messed that up. Is it conceivable that any of them are good? Of course it is. But, like, can you as a team be good while having made all of those picks, right? Yegor Demin, I think, is going to be a real, I really believe in him. I really do think he's good. A gun to my head, I couldn't tell you any other kids they drafted, though. I don't know. So Michael Porter Jr. Cool. Have fun with that. Michael Porter Jr. Was it during media day or was it during something else that he had made a comment and he was like, yeah, I shipped my car out here, but I Uber everywhere. Uber everywhere. Pre-rolls in my, how does that song go? Uber everywhere. Who sings that song? Don't do this, Nick. You're on a roll. Yeah, okay. Michael Porter Jr. Imagine him. His Uber or Lyft passenger rating has to be like 2 stars. Imagine you are going to pick somebody up in Brooklyn and it's Michael Porter Jr. This guy was like 6'9", 6'10", like gets in the car and you're like, whoa. Well, you probably are driving an Uber XL. He's probably smart and he orders the big one. You know what I mean? And he gets in and you have like the little iPad on the back of the seat. You know how you get in, sometimes you get in those ride shares and they have like an iPad on the back of the passenger seat and you can like play games or you can like make suggestions or sometimes you can even be like, do you want to have a conversation? Yes or no. Do you want me to play music? Yes or no. Michael Porter Jr. every single time is like, can you put on Ben Shapiro's podcast? Can you put on Candace Owens? Can you put on Caitlin Bennett? People forget about Caitlin Bennett. I tell you what, people forget this. I'm not going to turn this into a whole thing. I'm going to stick to the topic, by the way. People forget about Caitlin Bennett. She was the gun girl who pooped her pants at a frat party. Big curly hair. People forget about her. The GOP completely rejected her. They wanted nothing to do with her. I don't even know what she's doing anymore. Like, she's not even doing gay son or thought daughter style shit on Man on the Street. Like, she's not even doing that anymore. She's just been completely rejected by the zeitgeist, the conservative zeitgeist. And she's not even allowed to participate anymore. The freak shit that Michael Porter Jr. probably wants you to put on the radio. Can you put on the Joe Rogan Experience? There's something inherently wrong with listening to Joe Rogan. But, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let's get back to it. I don't know. Jaylen Brown, if he ever ends up on another team, I really do believe it's going to be somebody who is just like purgatory. Like, we need somebody to just like make us something that we're not. And they make a big splash and they overpay in a trade for him. It'll be something like that. So same page, different results. Adam says Brooklyn for Jaylen Brown. I say Sacramento. I could see him in either. We're on the same page, though. Another one, Draymond Green on the Pistons. Yeah, that's not even, I don't think you were doing that to do like a home cooking thing for me. I just think, yeah. Well, you know what I mean? We've kind of all, yeah. There's nothing else to even say. Like, it's really not even like he likes to kick guys in the nuts and he likes to punch Jordan Poole in the face. Well, wouldn't we all like to do that? But like, it's not even like the Bad Boys sort of thing, you know? It's not like the Saginaw, like the Sag Nasty, the East Lansing. No, it's really not about that. It's Draymond in a Pistons uniform really does just make sense. I completely agree with you on that. Now, if you want me to really do the home cooking thing, I really mean this. I'm not just trying to be annoying. Like, yeah, like Devin Booker, like, is supposed to be a Piston. Like, the same way that to me, Max Crosby is a Lion. Like, that's the hometown piece of me, you know? But Draymond, again, even though he is a hometown guy, I actually agree with you otherwise, even if he wasn't from Saginaw. You said Jeremy Sohan, the Miami Vice uniforms, specifically the Miami Vice uniforms. Yeah, I like that one a lot, especially because I don't know how much of this, that Adam in the comments, I don't know how much of that was just the fact that, you know, Sohan likes to mess with his hair, and so he could really coordinate it with the uniform. I don't know how much of it was rooted in that, or if just like aesthetically, that's a guy that, you know, works in specifically the Miami Vice uniforms, but yeah, okay. I like that. I don't have that much commentary, but I like it. You said Jordan Clarkson in Milwaukee. You said for the Bucks. Isn't he? There's no way he's still in Utah. Isn't he in Milwaukee now? Is that true? Jordan Clarkson. He's not in Utah anymore. Is he? I swear it's Jordan Clarkson. He's played for the Bucks, hasn't he? I'm pulling it up right now. I'm going on Basketball Reference. I'm not going to bother asking Siri because that nonsense never works. No, it says he's still in Utah. No way he's still shooting guard. Oh, it's the Knicks? He plays for the Knicks? Jordan Clarkson went to the Knicks? No, he didn't. No, he didn't. It's fiction. You made it up, Google. Yeah, from the New York Post. Jordan Clarkson confident he can become key contributor for the Knicks. Quote, he's able to fit anywhere. Because they were playing games in Abu Dhabi in the interview. Okay, I knew he wasn't in Utah anymore. Okay. Damn, brother, it speaks volumes that I was like, isn't he in Milwaukee right now? It's fiction. I made it up. That's not true. I was just looking at his basketball reference, and I didn't look if he's played in Milwaukee, but surely he had. This is such a bad, I'm really stumbling through this, but surely he's played in Milwaukee. Los Angeles, we remember that, and then he got traded. Jordan Clarkson ended up in Cleveland during that trade deadline. Was it 17-18, the trade deadline, that in a span of, I swear to God, it was 30 minutes, the Cavs' entire roster got flipped on its head? Derrick Rose gets traded. Dwayne Wade gets traded. Jeremy Clarkson in. Larry Nance in. I mean, they completely flipped the roster, right? And then Jordan Clarkson ends up in Cleveland, and he gets the damn elephant tattooed on his neck, and it's the stupidest tattoo in the NBA. And then, from what was it, 2017, 2018 to 2020, he played with the Cavs. And then ever since then, he's been in Utah, and I guess he's in New York now. The fact that guy hasn't played for the Bucks is shocking. That's how right you are about this, that Jordan Clarkson is supposed to be a Buck. You're completely right about this. And then the last one that you said, and I intentionally saved this one for the last because I really think it's the best one. Bradley Beal, Dallas Mavericks. That's a stank face. Bradley Beal on the Mavs? Nothing has ever made more sense to me in my entire life. Boy, oh boy. Just looks right. Because the Clippers got such a good deal with that, where the Suns are billing the brunt of that contract, the buyout that they had to initiate. And I swear to God, the Clippers are paying like a nickel and some twine for him to be on the team this season. And it was so easy to make fun of Bradley Beal for the last year and a half since he got to Phoenix. But that wasn't even like you were making fun of Bradley Beal specifically. I mean, you were for the way that he was playing, but it was more about the way that he was playing versus the contract that he's on. And so now that he's on the contract that he's on, because he's still getting paid, but not by the Clippers. So this isn't even it would be so easy. There's a layup, like a cap circumvention layup right there if Bradley Beal is sick this season, which he might be. I mean, who knows, right? But it makes way more sense aesthetically for Bradley Beal to be in Dallas than it does for him to play with the Clippers. Damn, bro, that's such a good one. And then if I had to get in my bag, folks, and I had to think of one, the one that just keeps sticking out to me is Bam Adebayo playing in San Antonio. I really think that guy's a Spur, and I think when Fox got traded there, I was reluctant at first because I didn't really see it. I think because that deal, it wasn't Levine for Fox. I think it was a 3-team deal, right? That's how it ended up working out. But Levine went to Sacramento and De'Aaron Fox went to San Antonio. I thought Zach LaVine was more of a Spur than De'Aaron Fox was. I would revert course on that. I would say De'Aaron Fox actually pretty soundly is a San Antonio Spur. I think he looks good in that uniform, and I do think it makes sense. But I would say that Bam also is a Spur, and we had mentioned in the last episode, actually, it's funny because we had said that Victor Wembanyama, I couldn't see him in a Heat uniform, but I could see him being teammates with Bam Adebayo. Well, in this instance, you know what I mean? Outside of that, I really think, man, you nailed this. I think in the last episode, we said Anthony Edwards in a Laker jersey. We've seen Jason Tatum in a Laker jersey. He was wearing a Kobe. Was it for the 75th anniversary? Was that what it was when they were doing, all these massive commercials for it? I think they put Jason Tatum in a Lakers jersey, but again, specifically a Kobe Bryant jersey. Outside of that, let me think of one more. If Dame had to go somewhere else, which good for him for just going back to Portland and being like, this was a mistake. I should have just eaten it and I either should have eaten it and just stayed here forever, or I should have gotten out like 2 years earlier. You know what I mean? And so it's just good for him for going home. I'm trying to think of the rumors at the time. If he hadn't gone back to Portland, like Boston was the big one. Yeah, I could see it, but no. I would have gotten used to it pretty quick, but that's not an immediate, yeah, that guy's a Celtic. You know what I mean? No, not really. I would have gotten there, but no, not immediately. Not immediately the way that I would have with a Bradley Beal in Denver or a Draymond in Detroit or a Jaylen Brown in Brooklyn or Sacramento. Guy absolutely nailed this comment. If I think about, for some reason, the Raptors came to mind. Scotty Barnes could be Magic. I could see him in Orlando. That makes sense. The pinstripes. I bet if Scotty Barnes played in Orlando with those new Orlando Magic uniforms, every single game while his jersey is hanging in his locker pregame, he would count the stripes on his jersey every single time just to make sure that every single time it's the same amount of stripes. There's not one more. There's not one less. He would be very particular about it. He would make sure 1, 2, 3, 4. We do it before a pregame ritual every single game. Right after he got out of his basement with a welder's mask, sipping a Capri Sun, building his model train set. I could see that. Desmond Bane being in Orlando didn't make sense to me immediately. It did from a basketball perspective, but I've warmed up to it now. Those new Orlando uniforms are so good. And even one of you guys emailed me the other day, and it was Landon, I think. You sent me an email, and you were like, I thought you were taking the piss when you said that the Jace Richardson pick in Orlando was great and that it turned them into like a real like title contender. But like, holy shit, I think this is going to be... I wasn't kidding. I wasn't being funny. Like, maybe sometimes it's hard to tell when I'm being tongue-in-cheek and when I'm being serious. I was not being funny when I said that the Jace Richardson pick, to me, indicated that Orlando was taking shit seriously. I was dead serious. That was not home cooking. I'm a Michigan State fan. Like, they drafted my guy. No, that was like this is an Orlando Magic team who sees what everybody else sees. That's why they made the Desmond Bane trade. And they also, like, the one thing that Orlando has lacked outside of Paolo Banchero for the last couple of years, such a damn good defense, but their offense just stinks. And that's why bringing in a guy like Desmond Bane, bringing in a guy like Jace Richardson, who is undersized but can score the hell out of the ball. And I really have no idea what Jace's role is going to be this season in Orlando, but I do know that he is going to score the shit out of the ball whenever he does get the chance to play. Like, I would liken it to what Detroit has with Marcus Sasser, where like that guy can pass the ball really well. I mean, he's a good defender in the sense that he can come up with some really shifty steals, but like at the end of the day, that guy's a scorer. That's what he was at Houston, right? When he was in college. And I think that's what Jace brings to the table for an Orlando team that just needs that punch. And that's what he brings off the bench. I really was not kidding when I said like, okay, they're serious. I think Orlando's going to be really, really good this year. The Desmond Bane trade, I made fun of at first because what was it, like 5 seconds? I'm sorry, not 5 seconds. Wasn't it like 5? They gave up a lot of picks for that guy. And again, I just credit them for seeing the imbalance and the anomaly that the Eastern Conference has become and just deciding like we have the assets and we have the players to make a trade like this right now. And I think that if there's ever a time to do it, like I'm only ever going to be the general manager once, like this is the time to do it, you know? And I really, really credit them for that ambition. And the truth is that I hope that it pays off for them because I think it's such a smart gamble. Again, specifically for Desmond Bane and then to make the Jace Richardson pick, I envy that. I don't envy it in the sense that Trajan Langdon's an idiot. He's not an idiot, and I think he's done a fantastic job with the Pistons. But that aggressiveness, but if we just move down the timeline, we will see that same aggression from the Pistons. I think by the time we get to the trade deadline, and I don't even think it's going to take that long, the Pistons are going to have a guy on their team. By the time February comes around, the Pistons are going to have a guy on their team that they do not have right now, and I think it's going to shatter people's brains, and I think for a day or two, people are going to make some segments out of it. Your favorite YouTuber is going to have a video about it. Check that out. I think it's going to, by the time, I don't think it's going to even, we don't even have to wait till the trade deadline. I think by mid-January, the Pistons are going to have a guy by the name of Lauri Markkanen, or something adjacent, something Lauri Markkanen adjacent, and we're gonna have to talk about them for a day or two. You know, when we kind of get through you hit a point pre All-Star break where you're kind of like, all right, like let's fucking get there, you know. And then the last 2 months of the season are complete dog shit, and everybody's like, all right, let's really get there now. Well, people are gonna be feeding, not feeding. They're gonna be yearning for content at that point, and people are gonna make some piston videos. Anybody else I can think of? No, I think you nailed that email, dude. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. You guys want to do something wild? Something that we never do on this show. Let me get in my bag, folks. Get in the car, losers. We're about to hate on women. No Fuentes. We're about to hate on women. No, not really. No, not really. You want the, let me strap in, folks. You want the most nuanced goddamn take you've ever heard in your life? This one comes into us from Ryan. Ryan, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, brother. Welcome back to the show. Really happy to see you back in the inbox. Ryan sends in great emails. Subject line, the life of a showgirl fallout. That's right, folks. We're talking T-Swift. We're talking pop girlies. And before you turn your radio off, I will be going the direction that most of you want me to go with this, but we're not going full Fuentes. That's not what we're doing today. Because I like Taylor, but we got to talk about this. All right, Ryan, what's up? Greetings from Dallas. Most of my day today has been spent stuck in the Swiftie internet circle post-release of The Life of a Showgirl. And the reviews are just brutal. My TikTok For You page is just a constant stream of lifelong Swifties experiencing a Taylor Swift-shaped plane hitting the towers. For context, I am turning 27 in a month, and I have lived through and experienced almost every album release of her career. I am not a Swiftie by any means, but she has made songs and an album, parenthetically Folklore, that I love and respect greatly. Historically, I would say that a lot of hate she's received was a part of the culture's disdain for the interests of teenage girls, and I understand why so many women lashed onto her amidst that backlash. However, I have not been invested in really anything that she has done since Folklore and Evermore. Let me break the email for a second. This is a ball knower. This is a ball knower. This is a guy who is not sending in an email just for the sake of being like, well, Taylor Swift's a billionaire, so we should kill her. That's not what this is. This guy knows. It is Evermore. It's Folklore. And then I would also throw in there Lover. Lover is the number one. That's the best album. This guy knows what he's talking about, and that's why I read this email, and that's why I love Ryan. Let's get back to the email. As Taylor, let me take that from the top. However, I have not invested in really anything she has done since Folklore and Evermore, as Taylor Swift, the brand, has taken precedence over Taylor Swift, the artist. And that seems to be the general feeling amongst an alarming number of Swifties after this new album. To me, this is pretty significant, as Taylor's fanbase has the rightful reputation of being one of the most diehard and cultist groups of people on the internet. What does it say about your place in culture when there's a mass exodus of lifelong fans who are no longer interested in defending you? I don't even know if I have a take here, but as a man who loves celebrity culture and loves his pop girlies, how significant do you think this schism is in Taylor's fan bases? Are we witnessing the beginning of the end for Taylor Swift as a dominant force in culture, or will this ultimately be a little bump in the road that she can recover from with a better album next year? Much love from Ryan. So the short version, thank you for the email, brother. The short version is what you said at the end there. This does not matter at all. This literally doesn't matter at all. And then also for transparency, just to not leave you hanging or anything. I think this album sucks. I think it's not good. I listened to it. So I couldn't listen to it immediately the day that it came out. I had to wait for my son to take a nap, and then I immediately turned it on. That's not good. It's not good. And listen, I think that you have a woman that is so overexposed and so polarizing that I think what is weirdly nice about it is you're seeing social media sort of band together and collectively hate something that is super inconsequential and low stakes, which I really find refreshing. Honestly, I do. It stinks that it's at the expense of somebody that I like in Taylor Swift. I'm just not somebody that is well, she's a billionaire and so she sucks and I hate her. Yeah, I think it's the ethics of becoming a billionaire is something that I will never question. I think it's wrong that conceptually that can even exist. but I do show more grace for like entertainers who are billionaires than I do like tech entrepreneurs or like, elsewhere, right? But then also at the same time, it's like, well, the only reason that she's a billionaire is because she capitalizes on the same cultish fandom that Ryan pointed out, which is like, if I put out 15 variants of the same album and 6 of them are Target exclusive, and on every single one of these exclusive, there's like tracks from the vault, or like there's a QR code and you get digital content or like whatever, right? And you create FOMO for your supporters, and so they just keep dumping money into this, and like whatever, like that. Yeah, that stinks. You think about Rihanna as a billionaire. Rihanna's not a billionaire because she's a hit maker. She would be like a 10-time or like 100-time millionaire if it was just for her music. But the reason that Rihanna's a billionaire is because of her cosmetic line, and for like her, I don't want to call it a lingerie line, but like Fenty. Like, dog, I have Fenty stuff. I have silk Fenty boxers. They're amazing. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, that's where her money comes from. Even like a Kylie Jenner, like the reason she's a quote unquote billionaire, although that's up for debate, is because of her makeup line, because of her cosmetics and stuff like that. And it's fucked up and it's wrong and like whatever. But to me, it's just a little bit different. This doesn't mean anything at all. And I think, despite the brilliant email here from Ryan, I would argue, I don't know that I should be saying this and, sounding like it's a brag, but I'm in the weeds with the Swiftie community. If you name a subreddit that exists, I know. My favorite Swiftie subreddit, r/Gaylor Swift. It's the subreddit that for years has hypothesized that she's actually a homosexual woman, or at the very least bisexual, and that she's been breadcrumbing for so long, and that it's just a matter of time until she comes out of the closet, even though if you're actually paying attention and you're actually a ball knower, clearly she's already come out and she prefers men over women. And so watching those people have a absolute meltdown the day that Travis Kelce proposed was very, very funny. So like, listen, man, you talk about covering all the biggest stories and covering them from all angles. Like, I know what all the angles are here. And it has been very funny to see like them trying to if you haven't listened to the album, and maybe I should have said this up at the top, like, it's just crazy because she's talking about things and talking about them in a way that has like been totally antithetical to like who she is and like what her brand is. Like, the fact that she made an entire song about Travis Kelce's penis is wild. And the fact that so many of these lyrics just feel so like cringe and like, because like it's what, like, so many of these women can like get away with like saying like horny shit in a song, and you're just kind of like, whatever, like it's easy to kind of like dance along to it and whatever. Like, I don't know, you think about like Sabrina Carpenter, like, I don't know, it's just kind of like her identity, and she's just sort of embraced it, because as soon as she came in the spotlight, she's like, okay, well, I don't know, like this is just sort of like who I am, and it's just funny when she does it. But like when Taylor, like for 15 years, like is like a, the clean queen, and then until, once COVID happens and she releases Folklore and Evermore, and then she kind of starts cussing a little bit. It's like, whoa, she's kind of coming out of her shell. But when she's talking about like Travis Kelce's mahogany being the key to open her thighs, you're just like, what are you talking about? And people billing her as like the lyricist of a generation, and like this shit comes out, I'm like, how are you a poet? Like, this shit is so whack, dog. Like, you can't even, because to me then it just comes off as like, it's like you platformed Sabrina Carpenter in such a massive way, and then I'm not going to say that she ripped off Sabrina Carpenter, but I'm just like, this isn't who you are. Like, this has never been like what you do. And I really was just you talk about Swifties like not having a way to like defend the album. That's not true. Like, well, you didn't say that, by the way, but I was talking to someone earlier about it. That was the language they used. So that wasn't you, Ryan, the emailer, but no, they are certainly doing the mental gymnastics that they need to. Like, I saw my favorite post that I saw on r/Taylor Swift was like, what people don't realize is all of the lyrics in this are actually satire. And I'm like, honestly, I have the perfect show for you. It's called The Coping Hour. It's because if you're going to look at this record and say that all of these lyrics are satire, and like, it's actually you who doesn't understand that she's being ironic, I'm like, no, I think I think we get it. Like, it's clear that she made a record that was supposed to be like vibes based, but there's no like, and like the lyrics, like the substance of them, like you can kind of take or leave. And I'm like, no, but the lyrics are so distracting and they just like they don't fit like the aesthetics of like the instrumental of like what she's talking about. Like, there are good songs on this album, like The Fate of Ophelia, the lead track on the record, I think is actually really good. The whole thing's whack. Like, it's crazy that Sabrina Carpenter was featured on this album and like people just don't care, because I don't know how many people like really I don't think like most people really cared one way or another how good or bad this record was going to be. They just wanted a reason, again, because of what we said at the beginning. Like, you have somebody who is as overexposed as Taylor Swift is, and people are just going to be chomping at the bit to like hate her. Normally, this is where I would do the thing where I'm like, this is why women can never do fucking anything, and this is why, like, you know, pop stars and blah, blah, blah. And, like, in the past, I think the reason that Taylor hasn't shown any personality is because, like, any real, authentic personality is because she's otherwise just going to be ridiculed to hell for it, which she did when Reputation came out. And there's a song on that record called Look What You Made Me Do. And that at the time was the single most murdered that she ever got for something that she put out, because people are like, this is the cringiest shit I've ever heard. And now to this day, it's like the most like, yes, queen, like, oh my God. Like, when that shit comes on, like, people lose their minds. Like, people love that song. This record is not going to grow in the same way. Like, people really don't like this. And it's also crazy because it's like, dude, like, people, like, artists put out bad albums all the time. Like, it's just kind of a thing that happens. And you want to talk about, like, is this going to be like the end of Taylor Swift? No, because what was this? TS12? This was her 12th studio album, I'm pretty sure. So the next one is TS13. Look, if you're not a real Swift knower out there, that means that this next record is going to be the one. That bit 13 is her number. That's like been her whole deal since we knew who she was the number 13, right? So by the time that comes out, the promo that you're going to see is going to be shocking. And no matter how long it takes for that to come out, people are going to lose their minds, right? I will say the funniest review that I saw was, I think it was from Pitchfork, who gave it a 5.9 out of 10. As of this taping, Anthony Fantano has not reviewed the record yet. I'm going to say he's going to give it a light 3. He's going to give it Anthony Fantano, a.k.a. the Neil Drop, a.k.a. the music industry's busiest music idiot, nerd, is going to give it a light 3 out of 10. He's going to hate that shit, bro. Funniest review I saw was from Pitchfork, who called her a bachelorette party penis doctor. That is hater shit. That is real hater shit, and it's so funny. Because it's such like it's such an uncharacteristically horny album from somebody that just like, I'm not going to do the thing that the internet has done, which is like, girl, you're 35. Like, you can't be horny on Maine. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care about that at all. But what I will say, and this is what I should have said at the damn beginning, gee whiz, what does she think she's doing, dog? Dissing Charlie XCX, I will mobilize and I will be on the news tomorrow if this shit ever happens again. What's going on here? A year and change ago, Charlie XCX released culturally the most influential album for the gays and the girls of the 2020s, which was Brat. To this day, front to back, I don't know if there's a single skip. Even if you do like the deluxe version where there's a bunch of features on it, right? I don't know if there's a single skip. It's a brilliant record. And like as a movement, like Brat Summer will never end. It's still Brat Summer, by the way. Well, on there, she has a song called Sympathy is a Knife. And it's been very clear that is about Taylor Swift. And like the insecurities that Charlie has experienced as a like a colleague in the industry, as it pertains to Taylor Swift. Taylor took it as a diss, and maybe it was, and maybe there's inside stuff that we just don't know. Dog, like Taylor Swift on some real The Heart Part 6 vibes releases like a response to that on this record, and it sucked. Like, it wasn't like, and Charlie has just kind of like ridden the wave, and I actually admire her because while all of this attention is on her and like her Instagram, she's just been like posting stories about like how Israel's been fucking up Gaza. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, actually, that's a pretty good way to sort of use all of the eyes. You know what I mean? Like the engagement that's on you right now. It's like, well, you're directing it to a noble cause. I actually really admire that. And she sort of teased like that she's in the studio and people think that she's about to release like fucking Not Like Us, like for like Taylor's edition. You know what I mean? That's not what's about to happen. There's literally no way that's about to happen. It made me a little bit sick to my stomach to see the girls fighting in that way. Because I just never... Sympathy is a Knife is the name of the Charlie XCX song that's about Taylor. I never thought that it was, like, mean to her. I thought it was about, like, the idea that you're, like, scared that you're sort of never going to sort of compare to this social giant. And then you sort of like idealize suicide because you're like, I'm never going to be her. I'm literally never going to be her. I just didn't take it as a diss. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm way off on that. I talk about the Heart Part 6 Taylor's edition. Damn, that I nailed that. Has that take been out there yet? I don't know. No, this isn't going to matter because her next album is going to do crazy numbies. There's no way. People can say whatever they want about this Taylor Swift album. The opening track on this record, The Fate of Ophelia, was the single most streamed song in a span of 24 hours in the history of Spotify. Ever. And so when you go back to being overexposed and being polarized, like over-polarized or whatever, like no matter what, like people are always going to want to hear like what is it? Like, oh, it's bad. Oh, I gotta go check out how bad this thing really is, right? Like people are still gonna give her streams, and so you know, it sort of just goes back into the economy at the end of the day. I did think the album was fucking terrible, though. I did not think it was good. I'm a Swiftie. I love it. Lover is my favorite of hers. This album was not good, and that's fine. People have bad albums all the time. Put up 12 albums. You want her to go 12 for 12? It's not going to happen. copinghoursubs@gmail.com. Spelled phonetically. Email available in the description, wherever it is that you listen to this program. Let's see this one from Matthew. Subject line, Adam Friedland. Hey, Nick. Been watching a lot of Adam Friedland lately and saw you commented on a couple of videos. Worlds colliding. I had a question. In parentheses, you said, also kind of high right now. But what would your talk show look like if you had one? Who would your dream guest be? Also, obligatory sports take. I'm predicting this has got to be Luka's MVP year. Lakers have a decent roster for a good regular season record. And given the roster, his efficiency should probably go up possibly to Jokic levels. Have a good one and go Brewers. He said, and a Tigers close second. Yeah, thank you for this, Matt. Let me do the second part. Luka MVP season. It's got to happen eventually, right? What the hell? How has it not happened yet? How is it not? Well, Jokic. That's why it hasn't happened yet. Honestly, I don't know. I don't necessarily. If Luka taking his physical health the most seriously that he's ever taken it, like visibly, it's obvious that he is locked in, right? I think we said in the last episode, we were talking a little bit about Zion and how he's gotten skinny, and we mentioned Luka, and we're like, yeah, he slimmed down too, but he's added a lot of tone. Like there's like Luka's chiseled this year, you know? If it doesn't happen this year, yeah, I don't. It's crazy that he doesn't have one yet. You're probably gonna be right about that. Adam Friedland, ideal talk show for me. Well, the problem is that Adam ripped my shit off, and Dick Cavett as a kid was like, I loved him while watching the old interviews that he would do. And so the truth is that I would just do that. And I think that really is the best form of talk show, is what Dick Cavett would do, or the modern day equivalent, I think, to what Dick Cavett did is Graham Norton. Graham Norton is so brilliant, and that's another guy that even since I was 10 years old, I would watch his interviews that he would do with 3 or 4 people on a couch, and people are drinking a little bit and they're loose, and just funny stuff would happen. I just think he's such a brilliant conversationalist, and I think he's so influential, and I think that his episodes just always hit, and the interviews just always hit, because you're having these celebrities just on a couch with, it's not a one-on-one, it's not somebody just coming to do promo for whatever movie they're in. Like, of course that's why they're there, but he will get these people to engage, and he will get these people to like participate in bits in a way that you don't see in American late night television. And so, Graham Norton or Dick Cavett, I think, like, you saw James Corden try to replicate that, but it didn't work, because he was just such a remarkably unlikable person. And that was crazy for me too, because as a kid, what was it, 2010 maybe, or maybe 2011, 14, 15 years ago, there was an episode of Doctor Who where it was Matt Smith's first season. There was an episode called The Lodger at the end of season 5 where James Corden was the central figure in the episode. And Doctor Who is not American culture, so James Corden to me was nobody at the time, and I was like, wow, this is a really funny guy. So when he started appearing in American television and he was given this late night slot, I was like, wow, talk about a meteoric rise from this guy. That's really cool. And then he ended up just being a huge narcissist, and everybody hated this guy. And he would like all these anecdotes about him going out to restaurants. They don't need to get into it. People don't like James Corden. And that guy was never anything. But he tried to sort of replicate, like, formulaically the same thing that we're talking about here, which is either Dick Cavett or Graham Norton, which is you get more than one celebrity on a couch, and you give them a little bit something to drink, and you loosen them up a little bit. You just let him have fun. You try to have a good time with them, but he's not a good time with anybody, and nobody likes James Corden. So, I don't know. Adam Friedland. What's funny is anytime I comment on Adam Friedland's the Adam Friedland show, the interviews that he puts out, there will always be 1 or 2 of you guys who reply to the comment, and they're like, oh, like, whoa, it's similar to what you said here, like worlds collide. Yeah, man. Yeah. He's the only content creator in the world that I financially contribute to, because I think that the product that he puts out is worth it. I think it is some of the best content that you will find, and some of the best independent media that you will find on the internet is the Adam Friedland show. And the irony in that is shocking. And I won't go into the history of Adam Friedland and Cumtown and all this stuff. And I think a lot of you guys, truthfully, who listen to the show are at least somewhat aware, if not acutely aware, of what that history is with Cumtown and Adam Friedland, and how he went from being a punching bag to like a legitimate intellectual mind that people that they observe, and that they seek opinions out of. It's crazy the way that's worked. It's not crazy when you think about like his perspectives and like what his story actually is, but just like what he was on Cumtown as like a third mic who would just always get shit on or like literally poop his pants. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy the arc of that versus Stav versus like Nick, who was easily the funniest and most talented out of all of them, and has just completely been dejected from the world. And it's like, I don't care about any of this shit. It's just funny how it's all worked out. But Adam Friedland he's so brilliant, man. And I think the spectrum of guests that he gets on his show it's just whiplash. And you really never know. I think this next episode that's going to come out is going to be Tim Heidecker, which is great for me because he's one of my favorite comedians, and he's easily my favorite recurring character on I Think You Should Leave. And I'm really excited for that to come out. And, I don't contribute, the $5 or $10 a month that I do to the Adam Friedland show because I want the episodes early or anything like that. And I do get the episodes early, and like that's, 24 hours early, and that's really nice and that's cool. But I do it because I'm just like, no, again, I think this is worth funding. And I think these interviews and these conversations are worth funding, namely the one that he had with Richie Torres about a month ago. Like, these are conversations with elected officials that I think people really need to hear. And he's just so brilliant. And I think that it shines a light on the gaping hole that we do have in late night television today. I'm not one of those people that was excited that Jimmy Kimmel was pulled off the air and then subsequently put back on the air. And I'm not one of those people that was excited that Stephen Colbert is going to be, getting canceled in the spring of next year. But the truth is that, sort of what we said earlier, like, you see a lot of people having these short to long form conversations with people who
the subject of the interviews is very much just sort of there to promote the thing that they're there for. And I think Adam is so good at disarming people because he's sort of in the most endearing way like a knucklehead and an idiot, and I think he's mentioned this before, like he knows that, and he knows that's how he can get people to sort of unbutton a little bit. And you see people from walks of life that you're like, how are you guys even able to have a conversation for an hour and it doesn't suck? But he's able to do it, and he's able to get it out of them. And he's just so brilliant. And I don't consider myself to be somebody who would be like a good interviewer. Like you ask, who is my dream guest? I mean, the truth is, more than anything in the world, if I could snap my fingers and tomorrow I knew I had an interview booked with this person, it would be Cade. I really want to do that again because I just know how I'd do it. And that's the one person that I know that I'd crush all of the follow-up questions and the everything that we've learned since the last time we did the Cade Cunningham interview. The truth is that I know it would be him. If I had to go deeper than that, I don't know. Like I don't want to have a conversation with Steven Crowder. I don't want to have a conversation with Stephen A. Smith or Candace Owens or I don't want to have a conversation with any of these people. I don't want to have a conversation with LeBron. I don't. Like there are questions that I want to ask him, but in a long form setting, like I can't hang with a lot of these people. Like Leonardo DiCaprio was like the most important person in the world to me, but like I don't want to have a conversation with him because I would suck at it. I wouldn't be good at it. Like it's not for no reason that I don't have guests on this show. Like I'm not good at talking to people. I'm good at talking to myself. Right. And that I really think that comes across when you listen to the few, I don't even want to call them interviews, but just like episodes that I've done with other people on this show. Like I'm just not, I don't want to say like I don't play nice with other people. Like I'm just not good at it. And I spent how long was the Bun and Cardigan show on the air? Like 2.5 years. Like that was good. I mean, I was good at, having a conversation with James because we had formed such a close relationship, but like, I know when I get into a flow state, like I'm not somebody that's going to stop talking. And then once I do, and the other person stops talking or starts talking rather, I get so fixated on having to respond to everything that they say that I end up just kind of not really forming a coherent point instead of just kind of letting the punches roll on the conversation. Like that's just not something that I do. For somebody who's as interested in journalism as I am, I'm shockingly bad at asking questions, So I don't know who my dream guest would be. The only person that I know for a fact that I would just nail it if I had, 30 more minutes with this guy is Cade, because I just know I've thought about it so much that I just know exactly how I would do it. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what some of it comes back to, is because I just refuse to plan anything. Despite the fact that I'm also the same person who plans every single conversation that I have with anybody that ever, like there's just to that point, this weekend, when I go to the Michigan State game, one of you guys, I sent you an email today. I replied to your email and you were like, hey, I'm also going to be at the Michigan State game. I'm a senior and this is going to be one of the last games I go to. Like, I'd love to see you. I'd love to, just have a second to chat. And I emailed you back today and I said, I would love that. And I gave you some information and I said, we'll see what happens. We'll see how this plays out. And if I see you, I see you. And I really look forward to that. I've been planning in my head, like what that conversation is going to look like, right? Like that's just kind of how I've always operated. And it's not for like the sake of like being uncomfortable by silence or like the awkwardness of a situation or whatever. Like I just always, I don't know, like I just always plan my conversations. I'm going to be spending a lot of time with my father-in-law this weekend and my mother-in-law and both my mother-in-laws and my own mom. And I'm planning all of those conversations in my head, all of those interactions and every response that they could have. And what do I say to this? And what do I say to that? And what if they say this? Well, then I say that. I do that. But when it comes to, I don't know, like this show, like I don't plan it. I just kind of say it. I don't know. I'm kind of getting off the road here. I'm not really saying anything. I don't know, man. I don't know if I have a good guess, but I think I think he's brilliant, man. I think he's really good. And I wish that I had like half of the integrity that he does, because he's really just fallen into that role in such a brilliant way. And if you don't know who I'm talking about here, this whole time I've been talking about this, if you don't know, the Adam Friedland show, I really do believe that it's worth checking out and just go through the episode. He did an episode with Blake Griffin. So there you go. There's maybe if you don't know who he is, you dip your toe in the water. Check out the interview that he did with Blake Griffin, and you can let me know. You can get back to me on that. So what do you say, folks? What do you say we move on? And we do a different thing. I don't know. We've kind of been smashing the emails today. So what do you guys say we close out today's show? I haven't talked about the Tigers. I mean, the Tigers, as I'm taping this, are tied 1-1 in the American League Divisional Series against the Seattle Mariners. They won Game 1. They smoked Game 2. They had a brilliant game from Skubal, despite the fact that he let up 2 home runs. He threw 2 home runs to Jorge Polanco. He's only ever done that. He's only let up 2 home runs from the same guy, I think, once in his career, which is Paul Goldschmidt. Not a bad player to go yard on you twice in a game, by the way. Jorge Polanco, also very, very talented. What do I think about this? I need this series to be over. I'm not going to do a whole... I spent 30 minutes in the last episode on the Tigers. I'm not going to do it again. Because the truth is, more or less the duration of this series, this is the only time I'm going to get the chance to talk about it. By the time you hear from me again, the series will be over. So the plan is what? It's going to be Jack Flaherty Game 3, Casey Mize Game 4, Skubal Game 5 if it comes down to it. Love that. Nailed it. Because it's different from the first series, which was Mize. I'm sorry, it was Skubal, Mize, Flaherty. So they flipped Jack and Casey in this one, and I love that. I think that's brilliant. You got Colt Keith back in this series. He's in the DH hole. If motherfuckers could hit the ball, man, it'd just be a different series. Luis Castillo, I mean, he's 88 pitches in, and it's the 5th inning, and you're like, we got him right where we want him. We're driving that pitch count. He's got 4 walks. Yeah, but he's only let up 1 hit. You know, these guys just can't get on base when it matters. It's the story of my life, especially this season with Skubal. Even when the team was on a rocket, you would just have these outings from Skubal where he's just nothing but like swing and miss strikeouts, like perfect command, perfect pitch sequencing, and guys at the top of innings or the bottom of innings just can't get on base, and so it just comes back around on Skubal. When he just has that one, it's not even like he'll have a bad inning. He'll have like one bad at bat, and it just completely derails the momentum of the series, you know. And that's, I think, what we experienced in Game 2, and it's really frustrating. The most embarrassing moment, I don't have to tell you this, by the way, and I'm telling you this, okay? Maddie, my girlfriend, hates baseball. She refuses to get on board with it. She just thinks it's dumb and boring. And Robert Manfred, you know, putting in the pitch clock and all this, she doesn't care about it at all. It's just not fun for her. I put the game on the other day. Game 1, I couldn't even, by the way. The new season of Love is Blind came out, and she wanted to watch that, so we put that on the TV. And I had to have Game 1 on the iPad next to me on mute. And so that was the whole thing. And, okay, so Game 2, man. Polanco had hit that first home run, and throughout the entire game, I'm trying to explain to Maddie, because she caught a quip from the broadcast where they're like, you know, you can't game plan for Skubal, like there's nothing you can do, and blah, 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 blah. And she like chimed in, and she's like, how about hit the ball? How about swing faster and hit the ball? And I was like, sweetheart, it's not like that. Because again, it's his sequencing, right? So when Cal Raleigh is in the damn, I would hope, I don't know if he will be, but I hope is the MVP of the American League, hits 60 home runs. When he's up to the plate in the first or second inning and he's in a full count, it's loaded 3-2. As a hitter, what are you even expecting at that point? Because what happened in the at-bat is Cal Raleigh was like so worried about getting blown by with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball that when Skubal threw an 88-mile-an-hour changeup and it dropped, low speed dropped, he was a mile out in front of it. There's nothing you can do. That's not game planning When you're in that 3-2 count against Scoobel, you might as well walk back to the dugout, right? Okay, so Polanco hits this. I'm explaining this. I'm trying my best to be like, no, sweetheart, this isn't just like he throws hard and that's it and guys can't hit it. Like, they know what's coming and they can't fucking hit it. Polanco hits his first home run and in like, the fourth? And so we get to the sixth inning when he hits his second one. And again, I think it was a loaded count. It's 3-2. And I say to her, I go, all right, sweetheart, Scoobel's gone off speed. I think he went slider, 2 pitches in a row. Might have been like sinker, but he went off speed, 2 pitches in a row. It's a full count. I say to her, he's going to be sitting on a fastball right here, and he's not going to be able to hit it. I'm saying that as Scoobel's in his windup and delivering the ball. And the millisecond that I stop saying he's sitting fastball, he's not going to hit it, Scoobel threw the fastball, and Polanco went fucking 415 feet yard. I have never been so close to just walking off the balcony. Because what am I supposed to... How humiliating is that for me? Where I'm like, here's the pitch that's coming, and he's going to swing and miss. That exact pitch comes, and the guy goes fucking yard. I mean, sick to my stomach. Sick! And then at the top of the inning was when the Tigers, was it Torque that had the 2-run double? Yeah, man, they got those runs in, and then immediately after that, it was at the bottom of the 8th that the Mariners ended up taking the lead, and it was, I think, their first home playoff win in like 25 years, something crazy like that, like a Lions-esque stat, like just not winning playoff games at home. And I mean, this is a knife fight, man. It's a knife fight. I don't know. Again, I love the fact that Colt Keith is even back in the lineup. Really, I thought made things completely different in terms of, I thought the cohesion of being able to hit the ball would be different. So far, I'm not too sure that it is, especially it wasn't in game 2. Luis Castillo, despite the pitch count and despite the walk numbers, like really did control the game. And you go into game 3, and once again, I love swapping Flaherty for Casey Mize. I think that's the right thing to do, because I think Flaherty this season has just been more susceptible to just like the holy shit, what's going on game? What's going on with you, brother? Game. Didn't happen against Cleveland. We were fortunate for that, but I don't know. It's also a lot of pressure on Casey Mize in that game 4 to deliver. It'll only be his second start in the postseason, so I don't know. If it goes to game 5, I don't even know what to tell you, because I'm just trying to, like, no pun intended, like, cover the bases here. Like, I don't know. Do I think it's over? I do. I mean, I didn't think they were going to even win a game in this series, to be honest with you, dude. And I'm just like, they've had such a great season, and I'm just, I'm scared. It sucks. Tigers 1-1 with the Seattle Mariners. Hey, here's a cute little story for you guys. Here's a cute little story. This is going to sound like I'm about to do a soccer thing. I'm not doing the soccer thing yet, to those of you who don't care at all. I have a cute little story for you guys. We took the whole family outside the other day. And right across the street from us, I mean, we look outside the balcony, right below us, this huge field. And from spring to fall, almost every single day, there are soccer practices going on, right, with a bunch of little kids. And we needed our son to get a bunch of energy out before he went to sleep for the night. And so we took him and we took the dog outside, and we're kicking the soccer ball around. Whenever we take him outside, we always take the soccer ball outside. And I had on my Varatskhelia jersey, my Champions League PSG Varatskhelia jersey, right? I'm kicking, I'm doing kick-ups, I'm screamers, upper 90, you know what I mean? Through ball, through my 17-month-old kid's legs, get magged. We're just kicking it around. And there are some kids who are just wrapping up practice and, just kind of, hanging out and doing like one-on-ones with each other, just having fun. But one of the kids just keeps staring at us. One of the kids just keeps looking at me specifically. And I'm like, okay, he's wearing a Holland jersey. He's wearing a number 9 Holland jersey. I'm like, okay, all right, good for this kid. And then at one point, we kind of got close to each other because the ball, it doesn't matter. And he yells, I like your jersey. This kid is somewhere between 8 and 10. Maddie and I couldn't figure out. He's a kid, you know what I mean? He's like 8 and 10. And he goes, I like your jersey. And immediately, obviously, I knew he was talking to me. I turn around because I had seen his. I go, I like yours too, man. I like yours too. It's my favorite player. I like yours too. That's the end of the interaction. And then, 20 minutes go by and Roman's getting cranky and he wants to go to sleep. And we go, okay, so let's go inside. And we pick him up and we're going to walk inside. But this kid just keeps staring at us, right? He's walking over. And so we kind of sit there and he looks at me. He goes, hey, you got the shorts to those? He's asking if I have the PSG shorts to match my jersey. I go, no, bro. I was like, just the jersey. I go, you got shorts to match your Holland jersey? And, we're standing he walks over to us and I see he's wearing the Man City shorts. I go, oh, I cut myself off. I go, oh, I see you already got him on. I go, nice, dude. He's like, yeah, he's like, well, these are my sisters. So like, I go, I don't care. Like, who cares? I was like, you look awesome, dude. Like, I go, is Holland your favorite player? He goes, no. I go, who is? He goes, Lamine Yamal. Maddie and I look at each other and I start laughing. I go, you're awesome. I was like, that's my favorite player too. He's not. It's Holland's my favorite player. I go, that's awesome, dude. I go, blah, blah. I go, at the time, Barcelona actually just played PSG today. Lamine actually had a couple nice moments in this game. And well, as far as his handles were concerned, he actually didn't play that well in totality in the game. It was like a big time, Hakimi game. But anyways, I go, yeah, like PSG won. So, man, we're just like chopping it up with this like 10-year-old kid. And it's just so funny to me. Like, I guess I didn't remember like how weird kids are. They just kind of stare at you and they like don't really say anything. They just kind of like say like one word sentences. But I just thought it was really refreshing to me because like we're just like talking ball. And I don't really get to talk about soccer with like anybody at all outside of Maddie. And so like I was just excited because I'm like, oh, you want to talk ball, kid? Like, let's do it. Like, let's get wild. Let's get sick. Let's get nasty. And so like he's asking me all like, we're just talking about all this stuff. I go, did you get FIFA yet? And he's like, no, like my parents, I got to ask for it for Christmas. And I go like, what do you play? Like, you a career guy, ultimate team? And he goes, no, my parents don't let me play online. Again, I look at Maddie. I said, damn it. I didn't say damn it. I didn't cuss in front of this kid. I go, you got good parents, for real. And I'm serious when I say that. Your parents don't let you play online at all. Good for you. Especially the ultimate team stuff. Like my team in 2K. Like, that's gambling mechanics. Like, good for your parents, for real, for having a pulse on that and just not letting you get involved in it at all. Like, good for you, dude. And so, we're talking about all this stuff, and he's just, like, asking me, like, a bunch of, like, random questions, and he's like, asked me something about like Borussia Dortmund, and I was like, I don't care about them like at all. Like, I don't want any of their jerseys. Like, I was like, maybe I would have wanted like a Pulisic jersey or like a Holland jersey, but even then, like, no. I was like, maybe like Nicholas Jackson, and he cuts me off. He's like, well, he plays at Chelsea now. I go, that's right, little ball knower. That's right. He does play at Chelsea, doesn't he, little guy? It was just so cool, and it was so, we walk away, and Maddie's like, I bet you made that kid's day. We probably talked for like 10, 15 minutes. He's such a cool kid. Maddie's like, I bet you made that kid's day. And I was like, he made my day. Like, it was just cool. Like, it was refreshing to see somebody who doesn't have, like, they have no concept of social anxiety yet, that they just saw, like, he just saw me wearing the jersey of a player, like, that he knows, or a team that he knows, and, like, he just wanted to, like, have a conversation about it. And you know what I mean? Like, imagine you, like, as a grown man or woman, like, or they, themster, like, listening to this show, and, like, if you saw somebody wearing something that, like, you understood the reference, or, like, culturally, like, whatever it is, and, like, you were like, oh, that's cool, but, like, you're not going to have a conversation with it. You're not going to do it. You go to Starbucks as, like, a 25-year-old, and you see somebody who's, like, wearing a shirt that has, like, a super specific reference that you actually get. Like, what are the odds that you're actually going to say something? The odds are probably low, right? But this kid is, like, just nodding his head, and he's just, I was a little bit, I said to Maddie, I go, where the fuck is his, like, stranger danger? You know what I mean? Like, he really just, like, walked up to us and just, like, initiated a conversation twice. And then I was like, well, I guess we have a dog and a baby, so I guess it was a lot. It would be different if it was just me doing kick-ups next to a park. And he was like, that's a cool jersey. And I was like, yeah. No, I don't know. He's such a cool kid. I'm so mad. I wanted to ask him, like, when's your next game? Not that I would have gone to it, but they play him again right outside of our house. So I could have just, from the whatever. Really, really cool little interaction there. No, but as far as As far as actual soccer notes go, well, we just hit another international break. I was just watching Juve play Milan the other day. Well, you talk about Christian. I mean, he missed a penalty in that game. I want Juve to be so damn good, man. They're definitely my Serie A team. I love Juventus so much. I'm like 6 years into a managerial career with Juventus right now. I'm such a wagon with them. And that it's crazy watching Jonathan David in real life, kind of like going through some real bumps right now. But like in my managerial career, like he won a Ballon d'Or. You know what I mean? Like I won a Ballon d'Or with Jonathan David. A damn Canadian won the Ballon d'Or in my managerial save because of me. So love Juve, love their kiss this year. Love the Visit Detroit patch that they have. I was watching that. Leicester played the single best game that they've played all year against. Who the hell were they just playing? They tied 1-1 against Wrexham, and I was really pissed off about it. And after the first goal that they had, which wasn't quite a golazzo, but it was a nice goal. I said out loud, "Stick that in your fucking documentary." And then like 30 minutes later, Wrexham scored again, or not scored again. They just scored. And I was like, well, now I look like a jackass. I said that in a room of nobody but me and my kid. And I didn't have to tell Maddie that I said, stick that in your fucking documentary, but I did. So now I just look like an asshole. Who did they just play? Was it West Brom? Who did they just play? It wasn't West Brom. I don't remember who it was. They just won 3-1 after drawing 4 consecutive times. So they go up 1-1 because of a Justin James. You talk about a golazzo. Holy shit, screamer. From like a touch inside the box from a crazy angle. Just a fantastic goal. They go up 1-0. And then damn Wout fast gets the most bullshit penalty you've ever seen in your life. He goes in for the tackle and we clearly got all ball. And who did they just play, dude? This could piss me off. I don't remember that. It doesn't matter because they dumpstered them. Like, yeah, they got a pen and they converted on it. I thought it was going to be a ball don't lie moment and Stolarczyk was going to stop it because he's been really strong this year. Nah, but then like Fatawu had a goal and that was another screamer, Golazzo, and then Vestergaard had out of a set piece. It was the most convincing that Leicester has played offensively in the last year. And the most like, wow, this is real. And Jeremy Monga looked great. 16-year-old kid. I love him, man. He looks great. Going into the international, they're in breach of PSR, so they're going to get a points deduction at some point this year. And that's why the draws had been so frustrating because it's not that like, at least they're getting at, the 1 point, but when they're leaving 3 on the table, when you know that you're going to, who knows what the deduction is going to be, like somewhere between 6 and 15 points. Like who knows what it's going to be. And so it just thinks, leaving those on the table, and it's frustrating. But Marty Cifuentes has these guys playing inspired, and I think that the guys, when the window was still open, like you think about Winks, or you think about Fass, or you think like these guys had shitty attitudes, and it was clear that they didn't want to be here, and I didn't blame them for it. I don't think anybody did. But since the window has closed, you're seeing these attitudes change, and they're like, right now I'm here, and they're playing better. And I don't go into Leicester games anymore thinking like here's 0 points. Like I'm expecting a draw at the very least. And they've been solid this year, and they could be a lot better. If they didn't, was it Huddersfield that they blew it in penalties in the Carabao, and then Huddersfield got dumpstered by City. Yeah, sucks to suck. Probably should have been us. Should have been us, but it wasn't. That's fine. Leicester's just going to win the FA. That's fine. We'll just win the FA. That's fine. So they've been really good. If the season ended today, Ballon d'Or, which we didn't cover, by the way, on this show, that Dembele won and Lamine Yamal was somehow second. Who knows how that happened? I swore it was going to be Rafinha, and then it just wasn't. Oh, Dembele won, and everybody expected it was going to be him, and good for him. If the season ended today, who's winning the Ballon d'Or? Harry Kane. If it's not him, right now the race, month and a half into these European campaigns, I think pretty clearly is in some order, but Harry Kane at the top. Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe, Erling Haaland. Just on goal scoring alone. I mean, Harry Kane, it's give or take a few games and goals, is at like 20 goals in 10 games. He's been nuts this year. Some of these, there was a clip from the game that they just played the other day. Somebody had recorded it from the stands. I mean, the curve that he has on some of these shots is fucking disgusting. But also, he's a little bit of a bullshit goal scorer. And I will say this. Harry Kane has officially broken the record that was previously held by Cristiano Ronaldo and Erling Haaland. They shared the record for the fastest, the least amount of games to score 100 goals for their clubs, right? I think that's the record. Well, the problem is, like, a guy like Harry Kane takes fucking 15 penalties a season. You're cheating. Those aren't real goals. You're cheating. You know, but this season, I mean, the shit that if he gets a touch inside of the box, it's going in. He's been brilliant this year. And so I just wonder, and it's been, again, the same thing with Mbappe, and he's been on point this year. He's been brilliant. Except I watched, it was from like last week. It was the Madrid derby. It was a derby, as we say in America, because we're fucking normal and we actually enunciate the way that it's spelled. It drives me insane. D-E-R-B-Y, and they say derby. It drives me insane. It's derby. Such is life with accents, I guess. It was El Derby. It was Atletico versus Real, and that was I did watch that one. Julian Alvarez, freak shit that he was on. Super physical game. No, Mbappe's been brilliant this year, and again, so is Haaland. Haaland has definitely reverted back to his like treble season, like Premier League goal scoring record form. And I think between these three players, again, if the season ended today, the trajectory right now is that the World Cup is going to play a big factor in this. Which, and if I'm being honest, that kicks out Haaland, right? I mean, Norway's not going to. They're not going to make noise in the World Cup, especially when if Mbappe, it would be France. If it's Harry Kane, it's England. So, if you had to pick out of those three, I think that's probably what it's going to come down to. But that's my short list for Ballon d'Or this year. And alrighty, folks. If you're listening to this on Spotify, best place you've ever vacationed, ever? Best place, like place that you've been to that you're like, that you just can't, like, anytime you think about conceptually what a vacation is, you're like, what's the bar? You know, if you want to go into details about like why, you can, but if you just also want to tell me like, yeah, I went to Aruba and it was so cool. For me, best vacation we've ever been on that it will always be the gold standard for vacation is Puerto Rico. It's the best place in the world. It's gorgeous. And to be fair, I don't want to lie. Like the first time we've only been the one time, because there was like some culture shock, just like being somewhere that like, I don't know, like shit, like be in Spanish and like, yeah, we know Spanish, but like, it is kind of like you go somewhere and there aren't just American flags everywhere. Like, whoa, these are Puerto Rican flags. Like, yes, it's an American territory, but you know what I mean? I'm saying this to say, like, we didn't go out of the touristy areas. Like, yeah, we stayed in San Juan. We hung out on damn Condado Beach the whole time. And then, like, we went to Old San Juan and stuff like that, There were a lot of other places that we wanted to go on the island, but we just wanted to be sort of, like, we didn't want to get into a situation where we had to use like Google Translate, because in San Juan, like, people are fine with speaking English and it's fine. And we were just worried about going somewhere where people are like, I got fucking no idea what you're saying. But no, I'd be gorgeous place. And it could not have been it was one of those vacations. Maddie and I were just talking about this the other day. We had got off the plane. And just the nicest people, man. We got off the plane and we get to the place that we were staying at. And we're walking around for like 30 minutes. And Maddie kind of starts to like tweak a little bit. And she's just like stressed and overwhelmed. And we had a long day of travel. And we're in like a wild place. Like a place where we're like, what the fuck is going on here? And she kind of starts to like freak out a little bit. But I was so like, you're so far from home. You're in the middle of the ocean. That, like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? Like, I was so stressed out that I was completely fine. And like seeing her freak out, like kind of, it just like made me like chill. Like I was like, one of us, like, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it. So we're like sitting on a bench and there are all these like loose chickens just like walking around, just like, crowing and whatnot, roosting. And I was just chilling. Like, I was just like, whatever, dude. And I was like, listen, babe, like, why don't we just go into this? Like, we're here. Like, we're so unplugged right now. Like, we're here. And what are we going to do? We're here for the next 4 or 5 days. Like, this is it. Like, why don't we we're going to be okay. Like, let's just have, and so we just like went into a store and she bought some stuff and just, wow. Retail therapy. Wow. Did that work? And it just, God, it was just like, I don't know if I would use the word romantic, but it was just such a, it's our gold standard is Puerto Rico. And just our desperation to go back there and honestly I said this in the last episode or 2 episodes ago, like that's one of the reasons why I don't give a shit that Bad Bunny's doing the Super Bowl. So I'm like, Puerto Rico, stand up. Like, hell yes. This is awesome for you guys. We're not going to do more Bad Bunny commentary. I totally somehow underestimated just the absolute buffoonery that has become the culture war of the Bad Bunny Super Bowl. No, Puerto Rico's awesome. Isn't Javi Baez also from Puerto Rico? Yeah, it's the best place in the world. It's my favorite place. Now, granted, it's because that's the furthest outside of the United States that I've ever been, and even though it isn't, because that honestly, like psychologically, is maybe partially why I loved it so much. I mean, it's like maybe like 2% why I loved it so much. Is that like, yeah, it's an American territory, and so you don't need a passport to be there, but it doesn't feel like America at all. Like, it really does feel like a completely different place because it's so isolated, right? But I did say while we were there, I was like, damn, like one hurricane, like one, and this place is gone. Give these people, and they've had them a million times before, and they've survived every single time. But no, just such a brilliantly cultured place, and the food there was amazing, and the people were amazing, and the architecture was gorgeous, and the weather was beautiful. I mean, we went in December, so it was nice for us to go from, it's -10 outside here in Chicago, and we land in Puerto Rico, and it's 85 degrees, and you're like, nice. And I still have, if I look at it right now, I still have it on my phone. I still have San Juan on my phone. It is 78 degrees in Puerto Rico right now. Yeah, and every single day for the next like 2 weeks is 90 degrees is the high. So like, yeah, when you get into in the summer months, like that shit sucks. Puerto Rico is also funny for the weather because it has like Forrest Gump rain, where because like it's so hot and so humid, it'll be like completely fine, and then for 5 minutes it'll be like there's a hurricane happening. And then the rain will stop immediately. And then 30 minutes later, you'll have had no idea that it rained. All of the wetness has completely dried up again because it's so hot that it just evaporates. It's wild. It was just it was amazing, man. It was just it was the vacation of all vacations for us. And I think in my heart, the only thing that will ever top it is when we finally go to England. To me, that's like the place that I don't know. My concern when we go to England is that I'm not gonna leave. Like I'm scared that I'm gonna get there and I'm gonna be like, oh, like this is culture. No, no, not that, but just that. I don't know. I just think I'm gonna be filled with like a sense of like home, and like, yes, this is my ancestors. This is where I'm supposed to be. I've always wondered what's gonna, like, one day I will see the Eiffel Tower, and I'm just so curious to know, like, I hope I care. I really think I will. I'm so scared that I'm gonna see it and be like, yeah, it's the Eiffel Tower. Yeah. Bathroom Tom, aka Wizards fan Tom. Some of you may know him by his preferred nomenclature, Hot Tom. Haven't heard from him in a while. Is he dead? He's seen the Eiffel Tower. He was in France visiting his French girlfriend. Like, was that like 2 months ago at this point? He didn't specifically say anything about the Eiffel Tower. I'm just so... Some of you have seen it, too. You can include this in your comments or whatever. Like, if you've seen not even just the Eiffel Tower, but like an eighth wonder of the world. Like it could be the damn pyramids or something. Or maybe you were somebody who visited the States and you saw like the Empire State Building or something. Like, have you ever seen one of these like damn Great Wall of China? Well, like if you're not amused by the Great Wall of China, you're just a bum. But like, you get what I'm saying? Like one of these massive like feats of architecture. Like, have you seen something and then just kind of been like, yeah, like that's what I thought it was gonna be, and like that's it. What's one that I've seen that I was like, yeah, seeing the Golden Gate Bridge was cool. I only saw it from the plane and like flying into San Francisco and then flying back out. That was cool. Seeing the only time I've ever been to New York, I haven't. I flew into Jersey. I flew into Newark and then 45 minutes later flew out. And so I got to see the skyline, and like I took pictures and stuff, and I was like, that's crazy. Like that's the Statue of Liberty. And I was like, that's crazy. Like that's the World Trade Center, and that's the Empire State Building, and that's the Chrysler Building. And, you know, like that's Central Park. And like, that was cool. And at the time I was at a point in my life where I had no interest in going to New York at all. Like I was like, no, I'm a Los Angeles guy. Like I have Chicago and Los Angeles. Like I don't need New York. Now I'm at a point where I'm like, after watching every single season of Sex and the City and, you know, the movies and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I could go to New York. I don't know that I've ever been like whelmed by architecture. I think I actually do a pretty good job of appreciating it when it's in front of me. Alrighty, folks, that's a pretty loaded question for you guys there, Spotify. Apple Podcasts, what's up? What's up? I haven't been doing a good job with I've been too high pitched with the Apple Podcast these last few episodes, I think. Can we retake that from the top? Do we have time to take that one from the top? Apple Podcasts. What's up? That's too low. What's up? That doesn't sound authentic. What's up? What's up? Something's going on with me, Apple Podcasts. Nobody fucking listens to this shit on Apple Podcasts, bro. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Make sure to keep primary control in check. One of you guys made a funny comment. You said something to the effect of like, it's always about like keeping primary control in check and not like tertiary control or like something else control, not double control, but like something like that. I thought that was a good joke. I didn't even nasal exhale for it. I didn't really react to it at all, but I did think it was funny. So good for that person. I apologize. I don't remember who it was. I will catch you guys next week. Probably. This was, god damn, I'm rubbing my eyes like a goddamn Looney Tunes character. This is a 2-hour episode. Did I just do it? I will say there will end up being a couple of cuts in this episode because I bumped the green screen a couple of times. Those were not real cuts. I did this. Nice, dude. Good for you, bro. Well, I'll see you guys next week then. I'll see you next week. Keep an eye on that Michigan State UCLA game for me, all right? I will catch you guys in the next one.